Hi there, Young Living Business Builders. This is Sarah Harnish, and we're up for day 5 today, and this one is a rough class. Remember I told you there's only a couple of times that I'm going to be beating you guys up in the boot camp. Today's another one of those days, because I know you're going to listen to these and you're going to hear some of these excuses in your own head and go, oh my gosh, that's me. I totally do that. And it's going to be a little uncomfortable for you. But I'll tell you, if it makes you feel any better, I've hit every single one of these things myself. We all get to places in our business where we get frustrated or where we plateau or where we're not sure what our next move is, and we make excuses ourselves. And so that's all of these excuses I've made for myself at one point or another with my business. So don't beat yourself up too hard. This is Game Plan Day 5. If you're just joining us, I'm Sarah Harnish. I'm a platinum leader with Young Living. I'm the author of the book Game Plan, which is this book right here. You can get it on Amazon if you don't have a copy yet. I'm hoping this one gets shared all over the world, this video, because this is probably one of the most important videos of all 25, especially for people that are just starting to share the business. I would share video 1, video 2, and video 5. Those 3 videos are critical to growing your teams. John and I went from starter kit to platinum in 17 months. And so this boot camp is to show you how we did it. We did it while we were working 2 full-time jobs, homeschooling 5 children, including a special needs son, and cooking without sugar, gluten, or dairy. I was also anchoring news at 4 o'clock in the morning every single day. I had no network marketing experience, no sales background, no time, no friend circles, no internet, and I lived in a very rural area in upstate New York. I'd also moved across the country just a couple of years earlier, and so I had no money, I had no resources. You have to stack Young Living up against what you're doing right now and weigh it and see that it's a better option. See that it's your way out. If I can figure this out, you guys can figure this out. This is how we pulled it off. This is our game plan. So as you're doing the boot camp, I want you to imagine yourself training your leaders with it. Maybe you're doing your own boot camp off of the book. Maybe you're watching the videos together, you and your team leaders, not in the same house, but you guys are watching them online together and then talking about it afterwards. Maybe you're assigning the book and you're checking in daily or weekly on a team page. However you see yourself doing the boot camp, I want you to picture yourself as I'm training you, doing it, sharing it with the members on your team that you so desperately want to see succeed. That's how boot camp works, is through the process of duplication. It's already written out for you. If you're just joining us, here's how it works. It's 25 days, 9 p.m. Eastern, every single day except for one day, and that's this morning. This is the only one. The reason that we're doing it so early this morning is I'm about to head out and love on my leaders. Every year in January and in July, we get together as a leadership team, and I just love the tar out of them. So that's this weekend, and I have to get on the road to head out to the leaders retreat and get it set up before they all start coming in. We've already got leaders in from South Carolina, Sherry, one of my silvers over there. And we got people coming in from Eastern Pennsylvania and all over the place. So, let's see where I left off. So if you're just joining us, normally it's 9 p.m. Matter of fact, Monday we'll be right back at 9 p.m. all over again. There's 25 days, 25 chapters in the book, 25 workbook chapters, a video every single day, reading every day, workbook assignments every single day. So this is intense. You're plotting out your business in 2017, laying down goals, and I'm going to train you how to stick with those goals. And through that, you're going to ignite your team. You're going to explode your OGV. The only thing that you need is the book and the workbook. Here's the book, Game Plan. It's on Amazon. Here's the workbook so that you can do the assignments. The workbook tailors the training to your team, so you're going to want it. The book gives you the tactics and the strategy to do it, and the workbook customizes it for your team specifically. It's open to anybody. It's free. We also have a blog set up on our website, so if you're just popping in and you're on video 5 and you haven't watched video 1 through 4, you can find all those videos in one place without scrolling through Facebook by going to oilabilityteam.com and clicking on the bootcamp videos. Day 1, we talked about why do Young Living business, stacking it against what you're doing right now. Day 2, we talked about vision casting and looking at where you've been and where you're going. Day 3, we talked about volume and what it takes to be able to rank up, how frequently you need to be out there teaching classes. And then day 4, we talked about, last night was a really, really good lecture, the 6 mistakes that I see every single stagnant business builder making. They always fall in one of those 6 categories. So plot yourself out and see which one of those 6 you are. You all ready for day 5? Come on, give me a high five. Tell me you're awake. I know it's early, but y'all can wake up. If you're in California, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, so I totally get it. Day 5, this is actually one of my favorite lectures of the entire series, and I know I say that. I've said that quite a few times, but a lot of my favorite lectures are the very beginning. I'll tell you, the tour of the virtual office is exciting, but this one really kicks me in the butt. This is a really, really good one because it's about excuses. And if you know me, I'm a red personality. I just like to get to the goal. I make the list, get it done, get to the goal, right? I don't like excuses. But excuses are what prevents people from starting a Young Living business. It's what holds you back. It's those excuses. So I can't tell you how many times people come up to me and they say one of the following excuses. I don't know any people. I live in a rural area. I'm not a news anchor. I don't have the influence that you have. I don't have the time that you have. I don't have the money to start a business. I can't stand in front of people. I get that one all the time. I have no children and I have no babysitter. I work too many hours. I don't want anyone in my house. I don't like to sell stuff. She's at work. You're like sneaking the boot camp video in that. That's funny. So yeah, I pulled out my inner mama bear when I use the word excuses, because that's what those are, right? When you want something, you find a way around the mountain without complaint. Without complaint. That's critical, because the words coming out of your mouth matter. They absolutely matter, right? There's a verse in the Bible about the son that said that he would get something done for his father, and then he didn't do it. And then there was a son who said that he wouldn't do it, and then he went and did do it. It's out of Matthew chapter 21, about verse 30. It's the parable of the two sons. Jesus responded to both of them, the one that said that he would do it and didn't, and the one that said that he wouldn't do it and did, and said that prostitutes would enter the kingdom of heaven before those two sons would. Because both of them both had a complaining spirit. All right. They're both in that place where, like, begrudgingly, okay, if my father asked me, I'll go do it. Don't complain. There's no benefit in complaining about the things that you have to do. Just keep your eye on the goal. We're going to tackle the subject of negativity in another chapter, and it's a butt-kicking chapter. Like, the words that come out of your mouth are so important. You've got to speak life over what you're doing. So don't complain. If you want something, find somebody who did it and learn from them. If their way doesn't work for you, then find a person with a way that does work for you. Just fight for it and dig out of where you are, because you don't like where you are, or you wouldn't be on this boot camp. So let's tackle these excuses head on. Location. Give me a high five if anybody's ever come up to you and said, oh yeah, I can't teach because I live in the middle of nowhere. Do you want me to show you what the middle of nowhere looks like? Let's just take a look at this. This is the middle of nowhere. Y'all see that? That's my backyard. Behind it is a farmer's field. Right over there is a state park. I got to drive, 30 minutes, an hour round trip to get to a Walmart. We don't have a decent grocery store in town. That's nowhere, all right? That's the middle of nowhere. People see New York next to my name, and they're like, oh yeah, you live near New York City. I was like, New York City is this big, and then the rest of the state is like this big, and I'm 5 hours from New York City. So now I live in the middle of nowhere. We don't even have a decent internet signal. We have to do boosters to try to get a strong enough signal. And the last boot camp that I did, I actually had to drive next to cell towers and sit next to the towers in my car to make sure that people could see me without me freezing. So thankfully I'm married to a software developer who finds ways around everything. He's awesome. But yeah, no, middle of nowhere. Matter of fact, I will tell you, our team right now has about 220,000 OGV. That's what we do in sales every single month. 220,000, and 100,000 of that is one team. With many, we got gold leaders on that team, and we've got many silvers on that team. That team is in Eldred, Pennsylvania. If y'all want an extra homework assignment, go to Google Earth and look up Eldred, Pennsylvania. It's literally in the middle of the Allegheny Forest on the western edge of Pennsylvania. Right down by the state line in Ohio. There's nothing there. You have to drive like 12 miles to get a cell signal out there. Every single time I show up to those classes, there's like 100 to 150 people in the room. The town is smaller than the classes are. Like, I don't even know where these people come from, but yet they are always drawing people to these classes. So matter of fact, that's where we're going today, is down to Eldred for the retreat. So I look at that, I was like, dude, if they can do it, I can do it. Like, they inspire me every single time I go down to the schoolhouse, because it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The other thing that I hear all the time is, well, the market's saturated. I live in a town that's got a few people in it, but there's so many people selling. Or in my church is the only group that I've got that I have any friend circles in, and there's already 6 Young Living distributors in my church. Saturation is what happens when you put too much butter on your popcorn. It's not a concept in network marketing. To explain this to you with statistics and with numbers, there are 300 million people in the United States. 300 million people. And there are 4 million Young Living distributors. 4 million out of 300 million people. And of those 4 million, that's global. That's not even the United States. That includes Singapore, Hong Kong, Europe, Australia. So if you think that this market is saturated, you're off your rocker, man. You're completely off your rocker. I had one of my leaders come to me and she said, Sarah, I can't sell in Corning anymore because there's too many Young Living distributors in Corning. And I told her, I said, Corning, New York has 12,000 people in it and our team has 3,600. So until we have 12,000 people on our team and every single person is from Corning, New York, that town is not even close to saturated. The trouble is you got to get outside your friend circles. You're talking to the same people again and again and again and again. So I'm going to train you how to do that. How to fill classes without knowing people coming up in next Wednesday's training. You don't want to miss that. Second excuse that I hear is money. This one's a doozy. There's no overhead with Young Living. Save a starter kit. It's the cheapest business to start. A Dunkin' Donuts franchise costs $500,000 to launch. There are MLMs out there that require you to buy $5,000 worth of product and keep it stocked in your house and then carry it with you from place to place to place. You got to carry around 11 bottles of oil and a diffuser. Not $5,000 worth of product that you have to haul around with you everywhere. All right, Young Living, the cost, $160. That's it, starter kit. No store. All right, no rent to pay, no employees to pay, no health insurance, no utilities, no brick and mortar store. Literally, Young Living handles all the shipping. They handle all of the ordering. They handle all of the product. They handle all of the questions. Your employees, your downline, they're paid with compensation by Young Living. You don't have to handle any of that. Literally, all you need is you need your starter kit, and you need a 101 script. You've already got you. If you don't have your starter kit, we need to talk. All right, and you need a 101 script, which is in the book. Grab the game plan book because it's in the back of the book right here, Amazon.com. Saving for the kit. So that's a myth. All right. It's a myth that you need a lot of money to start a Young Living business. You need drive, you need focus, and you need to know what to do. Saving for the kit took me about 5 weeks. We used my birthday money to get mine. I've had people on our team that have held a yard sale, and one yard sale has covered the cost of their kit. I've had other people on my team that have tucked $30 away out of groceries every single week. I had some that picked up extra babysitting or did extra cleaning jobs. Just shave. I've had others that have shaved some fat off of their budget, and they were able to get it just by shaving back their television budget for 2 months. You know, that $160 kit is going to pay for itself over and over and over and over again if you drop the money down and get it. All right, it's going to pay for itself for sure. So influence. This one I laugh when I hear this excuse. I have more than 800 leaders that are not news anchors. And people will come to me and say, Sarah, I can't do it because you're a news anchor and I'm not a news anchor. And I just look at them and I'm like, really? Like, seriously? All right, well, let's take a look at our entire team. Let's look over the entire Oilability team at all of the people, because the only person that I know on the Oilability team that's a news anchor is me. And we got a lady who's about to go platinum. We've got 2 golds. We've got 14 silvers. We have 40 executives on the Oilability team. And of those 40 executives, 20 of them have OGVs that are over 7,000 and are on the cusp of silver and will probably hit it in the first 3 months of 2017. We have 60 senior stars, which also will hit silver this year. And we have 160 stars, and not a single one of them is a news anchor. So if that's the case, that you have to be a news anchor, you have to be famous to do Young Living business, then explain to me the 800 leaders on our team that are not. Explain to me the 100 leaders on our team that have either retired or semi-retired or made dramatic lifestyle changes because of that $160 kit that they got, and they're not a news anchor. So it has nothing to do with being a news anchor or with knowing people. It doesn't even really have anything to do with rank. Okay, because I have people on my team that are drawing more people to classes than diamonds that I know. It's not fame that grows a business. It's being willing to roll up your sleeves and hold classes. You have to hold classes. I don't know people either. I moved from Chicago to rural upstate New York, and the largest population center in my town is the county jail. It comes down to friend circles. It's not who you know, it's who your friends know. All right, and the Oilability system for filling classes works. We're going to hit on that next Wednesday. Influence isn't necessary, but tenacity is necessary. It's very important. I'm going to pause here before I go to the next excuse because I didn't give you the oil of the day yet. The oil of the day is gratitude. Okay? Gratitude. I love this oil because the reason we make excuses is because we're so focused on all the bad things in our life. You know, we're in that place of hopelessness. We're in that place of frustration that we literally cannot focus on the fact that God has brought a lifeboat to our front door. We need to get on the boat and get away from the things that are going bad, which includes our own tongues sometimes and speaking death over ourselves. Focus on the things that are positive and don't dwell and live in the land of the negative. You live in the land of the negative, you're going to stay in the place of negativity. And you're not going to grow a business that way because it's not leadership that people want to follow. They don't want to follow negativity. So if you want to have a business that's going to thrive, you can't be in that place. You just can't. All right, time. is the very, very next excuse that I hear. So many people tell me that they want this. Thousands, all right, thousands of people tell me they want this. I hand train them, and then 4 months go by and they've added 2 people to their team. And when I contact them, they're not holding any classes, and they say, well, I just don't have time. I want this, but I just don't have time. Young living is your way out. Okay, it's your way out. It's like drowning and having somebody hand you a rope and say, well, I don't have time to grab the rope. I'm in the middle of drowning right now. I'll get back to that in a little bit. It's the thing that saves you. So you need to make time, all right? You need to grab the rope. Look at all the things in your life right now that consume all of the time that you have. Young living is time economy. This is a critical concept. And I've actually never seen this written about before, but it's something that God really convicted me about, because I'll tell you, my Achilles heel is time management. Everybody who's in the room with me right now would totally agree with that, all right? It's time management. Here's a critical concept that the Lord really laid on my heart this year, with something that I stink at. So from someone who's tripped and stumbled and fall and continues to trip and stumble and fall over this one concept, here's the thing. The Lord is not going to bless you with more time if you're not using your time wisely. If you're not being a good steward, if you're not faithful with the small things, He's not going to bless you with more. You guys understand the concept of tithing, right? Tithing your money, where you take 10% out of your paycheck, the first fruits. You give it to the Lord. You give it back to the church. You give it back to the people you serve. Then the 90% you have left, somehow God always stretches that money. We always have the ability to pay our mortgage. We always have the ability to pay our rent. We always have the ability to pay our debt. He takes that little that's left and He stretches it. Do you know that He'll do the same thing with your clock? If you're faithful with your clock and you're a good steward over your time, I'm not seeing a lot of likes on this because there's a lot of people going, oh, that's me. All right. Come on, guys. High five me here. Let me know that you're awake. But if you're not faithful with your clock, He's not going to stretch your clock. You're always going to find yourself in a place where you're devoid of time. If you're faithful with your clock, somehow He's going to stretch that other 90%. He's going to stretch the last little bit that you've got left, and you're always going to be able to get the things done that you're convicted on, that you know that you need to get done every day. But only if you're a good steward. If you're not a good steward, He's not going to bless the time that you have. He's just not. You're going to find yourself short every day and running to catch up every single day. And it's because you're not being faithful. All right. You're not being faithful. So look at your schedule. I want you to find 2 hours every single week for a class. Make it happen. Just make it happen. Cut other things out to fit that 2 hours in. Bring your kids with you if you have to. Heck, I've taught 240 classes with my oldest 4 kids. So I know they've driven all over the country with me. We even drove from Toronto all the way to Salt Lake City, Utah, right? So no excuses. Now, as your team grows, you're going to be able to reevaluate some of those places where you can save yourself a little bit more time. It's a juggling act when you first start. I get it. It's hard, all right? I'm a mom of 5 who was working a 40-hour-a-week job that started at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I homeschooled 5 kids. I understand, all right? I get it. But if you want a way out, you got to make your doorway and walk through it. You can't have any excuses. Grab the rope. All right, grab the rope. Nobody's going to grab the rope for you. You got to grab the rope. You're either going to start your business or you're not going to start your business. And how you do it matters. If you're speaking life, you're going to flourish and grow. If you speak death, you're never going to get off the ground. So no complaints. Start each day knowing where you're going and then go for it. Make a plan and do it. Jay Carter is my diamond. He's amazing. And he makes a list of 3 business things that he's going to do every single day. And he will not let himself do anything else until those 3 business things are done. Maybe it's mailing out 3 packages to a couple of people. Maybe it is connecting with one leader that's really struggling right now. Whatever those 3 things are, he gets up in the morning. It's the first thing that he does. Then he'll allow himself to go on a run. Then he'll allow himself to have some downtime and do some things he really enjoys, right? Or maybe work on other projects, but he doesn't do it until the 3 business things are done that he's got to get done every single day. All right. So hopefully that helps you with some of your time tackling issues. Next one that I hear, I don't want to sell stuff. This one just makes me angry. This statement irritates me. This is a statement that just frustrates me more than anything else because I've never sold a starter kit in my life. I personally enrolled probably close to 400 people now, but I've never sold a starter kit in my life because from day one, from the 12 women that I had in my living room that I taught a class to today when I speak to auditoriums full of thousands of people, it's always been about education for me. Always, from the very, very first moments, because I have a passion to help live a chemical-free life. Let me tell you why. When I was 12 years old, I got my first migraine headache. I'll put it for a second. When I was my very first migraine headache, and it was debilitating. My face would droop on one side. I had weakness on my right side. The pain was excruciating. I grabbed my knees and I would roll and writhe in pain because it hurt so bad. By the time that I got into my 20s, I started having them every single month, with my cycle. Sorry if there's any guys on here. But by the time I got into my 20s and I started having kids, it was unbearable. So I went to a neurologist. And he started me on the first round of migraine medicine. After 24 years of this, I'd been to 13 neurologists. I'd been on 16 families of migraine medicines. And basically what was happening is the blood vessels on my head were swelling. It was pressing against my skull, and it was causing little tiny pinprick brain bleeds every single month, little pinprick brain bleeds. So I would go in for an MRI every single year, and they'd find about 30 to 40 more spots of dead tissue on the surface of my brain. Finally, the last guy that I work with said, there's nothing else I can do for you. You've been on every family of migraine medicine that's out there. We don't know how to help you, so we're going to send you up to a headache clinic up in Rochester at Strong. And so I was up there. We did about 6 weeks of testing. The guy that did the testing was amazing. Dr. Mann is the best neurologist I've ever worked with. Very, very thorough. But he wanted to put me on 6 different migraine medicines. One of them was an anti-inflammatory. One was a pain medication. One was an anti-nauseant. One was a steroid. And then 2 other medications to counteract the side effect of the first 4 medications that I was on. And the steroid alone had 2.5 pages of warnings on it. 2.5 pages. And most of them were heart related. And I don't have the best heart. I've got a level 5 heart murmur and a tricuspid regurgitation, which means one of my big valves in my heart backflows. And so I looked at the steroid warnings on it, and I'm thinking, gosh, I feel like I'm choosing between a heart attack or a stroke here. So I went back up to the neurologist, and he said, Sarah, you are at risk for a catastrophic stroke. It will happen. He goes, you already have strokes every single month with these. When you go into the ER and get the cocktail intravenously just to stop the cycle of vomiting and throwing up because your body can't handle the pain and it's tremoring and shaking and you're having diarrhea and vomiting and you're losing so much water every month because you can't stop the pain. He goes, that's bad. He goes, we have to get the inflammation down because you're going to have a major stroke. He says, as a matter of fact, you could be having strokes right now. If your face droops and you have the weakness and numbness on your right side and the migraine goes away and you still have the numbness on your right side, you need to get in here as fast as you can because then you've had a stroke and we need to try to help you. And so every month I waited to see if that was the month where I was going to have the stroke. Here I am. I've got 5 kids. They're under 10 years old. And we were living month to month, not sure if that was the month where it was going to be the month with the stroke that was going to leave me as a vegetable. So I came home and I lined up all the medicine on my counter. And I want to tell you, John and I are not anti-pharmaceutical. We're really not. I mean, if my kids break their leg, we're going to take them into the doctor's office. We're going to get a cast on their leg. But this just didn't sit right in my gut because I was going to have to take medicine every 2 hours for the rest of my life, forever, knowing that the medicine was damaging my liver, destroying my heart, but I had to make that choice to try to avoid a stroke. And so I lined it all up and I looked at it and I'm like, God, there's got to be a better way. There has to be a better way of me getting rid of these migraines without having a heart attack. That can't be the way. So I asked the neurologist and he said, Sarah, he goes, if it was my choice, I would pick the heart attack because if you have a heart attack, you're gone. He said, if you have a stroke, you literally can watch your kids growing up, but you're never going to be able to speak to them. You're going to see them, but you're going to be a vegetable and you're not going to be able to engage with your children. He said, to me, that would be worse. I'd rather just be gone. And I remember going home and just thinking about that. I'm like, who are you to make that decision for me? That's terrible. That's awful. I don't want to make that kind of a choice to be a vegetable or be dead, for my kids. So I told my husband, I said, I think I'm going to try to heal these homeopathically. I think I'm going to try to get rid of the migraines without taking the drugs. And remember, John looked at me and he's like, okay, you're going to have a slice of lemon and the migraines are going to be gone. And I said, no, it's going to be really aggressive, but there's got to be somebody out there who knows how to get rid of these things. And so I took what I knew about news. I've been a researcher my entire life. When I go into the newsroom, I read 39 newspapers every single day. Most of them are online. We have 6 that are delivered, and I'm scanning, and I might read 11 different versions of a story where I take one piece of one word and one fact and I weave it all together. It's putty in my hands and clay in my hands. And so but you're researching, you're taking the best of the best of the best of what's out there. By the time that I go on at 6 a.m, I've already watched all 7 networks and I know what angle they're taking all their stories from. And so I wanted to know, was there anybody out there who had been cured of migraines? Anyone? And I stumbled on this lady named Natasha Campbell McBride, who wrote a book called The GAPS Diet. It's gut and psychology syndrome. And it's all about healing your body through food. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, as a migraine sufferer, like we know food like nobody else. I mean, I have stacks of journals that I've kept because that's what you do is you eliminate foods out of your diet. You have to track all of everything that you're eating, right? And so I had stacks of these journals where I tracked what I was eating and what triggered the migraines and when I had them. And I cut caffeine, I cut MSG, I cut Chinese food, I even cut chocolate. Like it was really hard. I cut everything and still the migraines were there. So I'm thinking, gosh, she's going to heal it through food. That's not going to work. But all right, I'll try it. What am I doing? I'm speaking death over myself, right? So I cut sugar, gluten, and dairy. The first month that I was on the diet, I still had the drooping and the weakness on the right side of my face, and on the right side of my body. So if I picked up like a pop can, I would drop it. Or if I was holding a stack of books in both hands, I'd drop the books. But I didn't have any pain. And I had pain since I was 12 years old. I didn't even remember what a life of no pain felt like, to not be tremoring and vomiting and grabbing my knees and writhing in pain. Like I didn't remember what that felt like, to not have pain all the time. And the second month that I was on the diet, no sugar, no gluten, no dairy, I had no drooping and no weakness in the right side of my face. And I was thinking, my word, this is crazy. Like this is insane. I have not had a migraine since I was 12 years old. That's insanity. And so this actually January 18th, what's today's date? Today's date is the 6th. On the 18th of this month, it's 4 years that I've been migraine free. I have not had a migraine in 4 years, just simply by changing the way that I ate, by cutting gluten and sugar and dairy, okay? Gluten, sugar, and dairy. And so what this did for me was it got me thinking about all the other things in my house, all right? It got me thinking about my dish soap that's bright blue with all the chemicals in it, because that's really what it was. It was the processed food that damaged my gut, and then it got me to a place where I was having brain bleeds. It was terrible every single month by the time that I was in my 30s. All right, so I started thinking about my dish soap. I started thinking about my cleaner, my multi-surface cleaner that says on the side of the bottle, "Do not consume, poisonous, not for human consumption." And I spray my butcher block to sanitize it after I dice some raw meat, and then 3 days later I cut my fresh strawberries on it after I've sanitized it, and I can still smell the chemicals on the butcher block, and I'm eating the strawberries right off the butcher block. I'm poisoning myself. Or about the laundry soap that I'm using that has like 35 ingredients in it that are all chemicals. And I wash it, then I put those clothes on my kids' skin, and they're up against their skin. They're in my closet. They're outgassing all night long. I'm breathing that stuff in. We don't even realize how many times during the day that we poison ourselves. So that's how I got involved with chemical-free living. That's how I got involved with oils. About 4 months after my migraines were cured, I got invited to my first oils class. And I started thinking to myself, my word, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been looking for. We spend our entire lives chasing symptoms, chasing all of the things that are wrong. We don't do preventive maintenance. We don't try to catch it before it actually happens, or do support for our systems so they're strong enough when that stuff hits us. That's what Young Living is about. It's about wellness. It's about staying above the line of disease. All right. It's about preventative maintenance. And if you can teach people how to live a chemical-free life, that the stuff that's in their homes is killing them, then all of a sudden you have passion, you have purpose, you have meaning, you have focus. It's not about curing diseases. It's about getting rid of the chemicals in their houses. It's why it's so critical that you take the oils seriously, guys, and why you share them with every single person that you meet. You have a market that's 100% wide, because every person on the earth needs essential oils. It's about getting away from a chemical lifestyle. It was the chemicals in my food and the garbage in my food and the garbage I was exposed to in my life, in my house, that was causing me to have brain bleeds. All right, that's what it was. It was about the health of myself and my family. 30 years of eating out of cans and boxes and spraying chemical garbage everywhere and spraying chemicals in my hair and washing my body with chemicals and eating chemicals for my food and slathering chemicals on my skin through lotion, all right, and spraying chemical perfume on my body and breathing chemical exhaust and putting chemical-laden clothing on my body and wearing it all day long. You do that, there's a cost to that kind of a lifestyle, guys. There's a cost. And the cost could be inflammation. The cost could be acne, adult acne. The cost could be unexplained pain. It could be fibromyalgia. It could be migraine headaches. That's a cost of a chemical-laden lifestyle. Don't think that there isn't a cost for every single time you're using a chemical. There absolutely is a cost. You just haven't connected the cost to what you're using in your house every single day. All right. You got to connect the dots in your life and get some of that stuff out of your house. Like I said in the first video, you're the one that controls the stuff that crosses the threshold of your door. You're the one that controls that stuff. You have to say, no, I'm not allowing this stuff in my house anymore because I know where this road goes and it's not good. There's a consequence to every single choice that I make, whether it's the food that I'm eating, whether it's the Starbucks coffee I'm picking up with 30 chemicals in it every single morning, or whether it's the chemicals that I'm using to clean my house with, or my personal care products. Young Living has no yuck. It's the no yuck guarantee. Whether you're using the Young Living Thieves Cleaner and wiping your kitchen down, there's nothing in it but plants. It's not going to hurt you. It's oils and plants. The deodorant doesn't have aluminum in it. It's not going to hurt you. There's no garbage. So it's not about the oils curing stuff. It's about the concept of eliminating chemicals out of your home. It's about the passion of teaching people to live a chemical-free lifestyle. I'm passionate about oils because I've lived on the other side of a chemical-laden life. I've slowly poisoned my family. I've seen the consequences of those choices, and I will teach a million classes if it saves one family from the life and the hell that I have been through. I don't want anybody to be in that place. It's all about education for me. It has never been about sales. I'm bold, and I tell them where I started my journey, and I tell them where to begin because it's where I began. There's a passion behind the purpose. It's to save them. That's the passion. This is serious. And there's a hate to it because every single passing day, somebody's getting hurt. Every single day, somebody's getting hurt. You can't do what you were called and created to do if you have no health. I don't care what your calling is and what giftings you've been given. If you can't get off your couch because you got so many chemicals in your house and so many chemicals you're pouring down your throat every single day and your liver's so taxed it literally can't function, you can't do what you're called and created to do. So it doesn't matter what you've been called and created to do because you have no health. That's why this matters. It's so important. It's so critical. All right. That was my excuse. I don't want to sell stuff. You're not selling stuff, guys. You're educating. You're educating. We're going to talk about it in an entire chapter about education coming up a little bit later. The one legitimate excuse that is out there that is totally okay. This is a true legit, it's not even an excuse. I can't stand in front of people. There are people that legitimately cannot stand in front of people. My husband would be one of those people. I can't stand in front of my people. Let me tell you, there's a 100 ways of sharing Young Living, and not all of them are standing in front of people. Some of them require a little more tenacity because you're not standing in front of people, but there are ways of growing your business that do not require getting in front of a room of 20 people staring in front at your face, okay? Myrna, an example from our team, and I'm using their real names. Myrna grew to 10,000 OGV by handing out my DVDs. I gave you one of the greatest tools that you could possibly get. It's called the #1 tool on our team with that audio CD. You know, it's up on our website right now, oilabilityteam.com. All you got to do is send a link. You just send a link and you incentivize somebody to listen to that class, and you just taught a class. You taught a class with zero effort. You literally just sent a link to somebody. It's an entire class in a box. They just hit play and they listen to it on their phone. While they're driving, they can listen to it while they're washing their dishes off their phone, all right? It's all class in a box. You got people that can't get to class or giving you excuses because they're in their car all the time. Have them listen to the class online. It's free. It's right under free stuff on our page. So share it. That's how Myrna grew her team, was by getting them to listen to the 101 class. And now there's a digital form of it that you can share with anybody for free. Robin runs her entire business by looking for leaders she can bless for her business. Her goal is to find the most downtrodden people that are in a place of no hope just to bless them. And when I go teach, her leader training rooms are packed out. I teach more teacher trainings for her team than I do 101 classes because she's always looking for people to bless. Her entire focus is finding the person that is lost, which is crazy. And the Lord is blessing that because of where she is. She's in it for the leaders, for the one-on-one trainings with those leaders. Stephanie just likes to get oils on people. She has a passion for getting them up their nose. She cracked star in 1 month just by slathering oils on people. And they're like, whoa, this works. This is awesome. Rachel, she was working 3 jobs, cubicle jobs, $10 an hour jobs. One of them was a Walmart job, like 60 hours a week. It was crazy as a Walmart manager. Another one was a cake decorator. She was working 3 jobs, 80 hours a week. She literally, truly did not have time because she got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and she didn't get home till 11 o'clock at night every single day. She worked her weekends. It was crazy. That was where I met her when she started Young Living Business. The only thing she had was a lunch break. So what did she do with her lunch break? She used it to do one-on-ones with people. Rachel's about to go gold right now, guys. Okay? She's about to go gold. All right, because she used her lunch break to teach one-on-one. So maybe you're not going to get in front of 20 people, but you will get in front of one person. You can connect with one person over lunch or over a dinner hour or after your shift is over. One-on-ones take a little bit longer, but they'll get you where you want to go. They'll get you there. You just got to be tenacious, all right? Joel, he's 21 years old. He moved to a new part of the country, literally did not know a single human being. And I'm telling you, using social media, that doesn't matter. You can still get outside your friend circles, and we're going to train you how to do that. But he put up flyers in health stores and bulk food stores and chiropractic offices and hit executive just by doing that. All right. He enrolled 9 people in his first month just by tapping into outside places, connecting with chiropractors, teaching to their friend circles. Sharon is terrified at getting in front of even one person. So what did she do? She's a genius at doing mailings. Absolute genius. So what she does, she gets the lecture in their hands, buy an audio CD or buy a DVD. She puts it in the mail and she sends it out. She's a genius at follow-up. She's really good at connecting with people. Aaron, a natural salesperson. He actually has a background in sales. So he worked in a place where they do remote starts, install remote starts on cars. And so he sold stereo speakers and stuff. He started selling Aaron's car kits from his store that he worked at with an orb diffuser for the car, a bottle of thieves cleaner, and a microfiber cloth and a starter kit. And so what's in the starter kit? You can use purification to get rid of smells. You can use stress away if you're anxious or you're a distracted driver, you have a little road rage. And that orb diffuser, they're selling like hotcakes because he found his niche. His niche was the angle of cars, which is what he worked with every single day. You got to find the places that you're passionate about and teach from those places in the way that you're able to do it, that you're able to share. No way is wrong. That's the nice thing. As long as you're getting the message of that 101 into somebody's head, be it through DVDs, be it through a shareable link, be it through one-on-ones, be it through a room of 20 people, whatever your way of doing it is, maybe it's through blogging, maybe it's through getting online and doing online Facebook Live classes like I am, where you don't have to actually look at somebody, but you're good at holding the phone and talking. Whatever your way is of sharing, there's no wrong way of doing this. Just find your gift and run with it. Run with that gift, all right? Whatever your gift is, play to it. Delegate your weaknesses to other people. But above all, pray and give your business to the Lord and keep Him as your center. And then watch it grow. Then watch it grow, okay? Whew, man, I was preaching it today. So those are all of the excuses that I've heard, and maybe there's some out there that I haven't heard, and we can include those in game plan too, but those are the major ones that I've heard. So let me give you guys your homework assignments, and then I got to get on the road and get to a retreat. All right, your homework assignment for today is game plan, chapter 5. I want you to read through all of the excuses. There's a lot more information in the chapter that I didn't cover. I'm not reading it verbatim, but it'll give you a lot of ideas on how to combat some of these excuses. Then for chapter 5, I also want you guys just watch the video, which is very good. Then for chapter 5, I want you to open up your workbook and do the homework assignments for the chapter 5 workbook. So what the homework assignments are. Said I was sneaky in this chapter. I titled it Finding Your Niche, but truly it's a chapter that blasts you from the start about defying excuses. Why is identifying them so important? Because it can emotionally cripple your business. If you're out there letting all these lies fill your head about why you can't do the business, because for every person out there that's saying they can't do it, there's people out there that are doing it right now despite those legit reasons. They don't have time because they have 3 jobs like Rachel. She's teaching out of her cubicle over lunch, okay? The truth is you do have time. You're just not looking for the places in your life where you can find it. Maybe you do have a lot on your plate and it's going to be a little harder than the person that's not a single mom with 3 kids at home to teach, all right? But if you have a mountain you got to get through and you want to get to the other side and this is your way out, you're going to grab the rope while you're drowning, right? You're not just going to sit there and drown, so grab the rope. Find your way around the mountain. Why is identifying your excuses so important? Because you got to find your way out. Don't believe the lies. I want you to write down some of the top excuses in Young Living. I listed 11 of them, so identify some of them with the response to each excuse. I don't have any time. What's the response to that? And I'm sure you've heard all the excuses before, but tell me which one describes you the most. So I'm going to call you out on this in this chapter, and I want you to write down what your big excuse is in the workbook. Now I want you to write down a way out of it, out of that excuse. I want you to write down the opposite of what your excuse is. What's the opposite of the statement above, all right? How can you fight your own negativity in your head? Walk through me by writing that excuse down. If you can't think of a way out of the thought pattern, just write down the opposite. So there's some lines there for you to write the opposite. I don't have any time. The opposite is I do have time. This is the time that I'm going to use to carve out of my schedule. This is a place where I can fit my business every single week. Now into the second part of the chapter, there's many ways of sharing Young Living. And while I believe with all of my heart that in-person classes with as many people as you can get into them is the fastest way to grow, I know that that's not possible for every person in every season. There may be seasons where you can do it, but you can't right now, all right? So I want you to check the options that you might be good at. And then there's a checklist with all the different ways that you could share Young Living. All right. You may have circled 1 or 2. And I'll tell you, as a platinum leader, I've used every single one of these things. I've mailed out DVDs. I've sent shareable links. I've taught one-on-one classes. I've taught very, very large classes. I've taught very small classes. So the big thing is just whatever you do, be real. Show people that it's not about sales. It's about passion for getting them out of a chemical-free lifestyle. So I'm going to flesh this out for you just a little bit. If you do a specialty class like a beauty school, incorporate some of the 101 notes. For every class that you're teaching, every 101 class, it should be a 1-to-3 ratio. If you teach a specialty class like a beauty school or a make and take, which I don't like make and takes, but I'll tell you why later, you should be teaching 3 101 classes, or at least finding a way to incorporate the 101 lecture into those classes, like a mini 2-page 101 where you hit highlights, especially purity, because that's the class that sells the starter kit. Okay, that's the class that sells the starter kit. So it's really important that you're making sure that you're utilizing that. Vendor events. People ask me about vendor events all the time, and we're going to have a vendor event chapter we talk about. Vendor events are a really good place to get new leads for classes. They're not a really good place to teach classes. So just know that if you're doing vendor events, you still need to be out there doing 101s. Can I throw in one more thing, and then we're going to wrap this up? It's a principle that I think is really important because I get requests weekly for people wanting to jump with the team that they're on and move to the oilability team. This drives me crazy, and we're gonna address this also in another chapter. If you're not successful where you are and you think that switching teams is going to help you, you're not going to be successful on another team either. Okay, you won't be, because the issue is not the team, because we're given the same oils, the same resources, the same fields, the same farms, the same tools. You guys all have game plan. You all got the boot camp. You all got the same resources. It doesn't have to do with your upline. It has to do with you. All right, so if you're not successful where you are, you're not going to be successful on a different team either. You got to utilize the tools that you've been given. All right. That's another excuse. It's another excuse. There's a wonderful quote in Eric Worre's GoPro book that I really, really love. It's a fantastic book that'll help you with the emotional side of network marketing. You can pick it up at ericworre.com. It's a good read. It's called GoPro. I want you to read this paragraph, and then I want you to write it out on a 3.5x5 card if you're an excuse maker, and I want you to put it on your bathroom mirror, and I want you to repeat it to yourself every single time you see it. Every single time you see it, because you have nobody to blame for your failure but yourself. Nobody but yourself. Here we go. Here's the quote from page 103. If I succeed in this business, it's going to be me that creates the success, not my upline. If I fail in the business, it's going to be me that creates the failure, not my team and not my upline. I am the difference between success and failure. My upline is here to guide me, but they cannot do the work for me. They're here to work with me, but not for me. All right, with me, but not for me. So I want you to write that out on a 3.5x5 card and tape it somewhere where you're going to see it, because you're responsible for the results of your business. All right, y'all got your homework? Game plan, read chapter 5, game plan workbook, do the workbook 5 sheets, watch this video if you didn't get to see the entire thing, and then join me 9 p.m. on Monday. So 9 p.m. on Monday, chapter 6. We're going to be talking about on Monday, let's see where I am here, your greatest tool, a tour of the Young Living virtual office. We're going to dig really deep into it, 9 p.m. on Monday. Also, one of the most powerful chapters of the entire boot camp, How to Fill Classes Without Knowing People, is coming up next week on Wednesday, and the Anatomy of a Successful Class. So we've got some doozies next week. I love you guys. I'm off to my retreat. You have an awesome weekend. You got 3 full days to get caught up, and I'll see you Monday at 9 o'clock. Thanks for joining me on a Monday morning or a Friday morning. Share this all over the place, because this is a very, very powerful lesson. I love you guys. I know you can do this. I believe in you. Slather some gratitude oil on yourself. Focus on the positive. Speak life over your business, and I will see you at 9 p.m. Eastern on Monday night.